like, well, if they don't want me to call them cis, you said I'm just going to call them non-transgender people. That's what you said, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you still stand on that?
Yeah, like that's like again, like I think that if I'm interacting with an individual person and the person says I don't want to be referred to as cis, I will make a point to not refer to them as cis. But if I'm talking about a group of people in general, I'm not going to not use the correct word for the group of people that I'm referring to as like a group. Like you can't tell like if that's what I'm saying, like it just doesn't make sense to tell me that I can't use the word that is literally the word for like it's like saying I can't use the word straight to describe straight people.
They're telling you what they want you to call them, and you're going out of your way to not do that. So the same way you don't want to be called a boy, you don't want to be called a man because you identify as a woman. In your head you're a woman, even though a lot of people see you as a man because that's what you were, or a male because that's what you were born as. The same way you see that as disrespectful, I don't understand still how you don't see how women telling you that they just want you to refer to them as woman and not as a non-transgender person or not as cis. I don't see how you don't see that as disrespectful. And then I also want you to touch on, and then you and Marty can go back and forth. Last time you told me that, cis or trans people are straight people. That's what you told me, right?
Some trans people are, yes.
Okay, so I would also like you to touch on how a transgender person can be a straight person. So first thing, touch on the whole referring to women as non-transgender people and cis instead of referring to them how they want you to refer to them. And then I also want you to explain how a transgender person is a straight person. And then
Okay.
Marty, you can respond to her after that.
Okay. So you can't woman is a category. There's different types of women. There are fat women, there are skinny women, there are black women, there are white women, there are tall women, there are short women. Within the category of woman, there's lots of different types of woman. And using the word woman to describe the one group of women, and like it's like saying it's like if there were a tall woman, if I'm talking about a tall woman, a tall woman's like, stop calling me a tall woman, just call me a woman. But they don't have a problem with me using the word short women to describe short women. I'm like, okay, there's short women. But when I go to say tall women, they're like, oh, stop calling me tall women. Only refer to me as a woman. We'd be like, what? That doesn't make sense because both tall women and short women are women. And so to try to create this delineation and say, oh, woman somehow applies solely to this group and does not need a descriptor is weird. It's the same thing with trans women and cisgender women. Trans women are also women. So if you're referring to women, you're referring to both trans women and cisgender women. There has to be a way of distinguishing the two. Now, if you don't want me to use the word cisgender, then I'm stuck with saying non-trans women because I still have to refer to the group of out women that are not trans.
I want you to explain how a transgender person is a straight person.
It like not all trans people are. So a trans person is a straight person if they only date people, or if they're only not even date, if they're only attracted to people of the opposite sex or gender. So